Hi viewers! Welcome to our Remarkable Finance channel. Before we move on, please like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updated with our new videos. For today, our video is focused on living a simple life, centered on the least basic things. Simple means less stuff, that is, simple food, little house, and modest clothing. Peace, contentment, and happiness that money cannot buy come with this simplicity. So where do we belong? To the less or to the more? What do we really want in life? To own more material things or live peacefully with contentment? This video unravels the idealistic side of minimalism and explains why more is less is more, and why the ability to let go of material things is considered wealth. Join us and watch the video until the end to determine what status in life you belong, now ascetic, minimalist, or maximalist. A minimalist person is someone who has a simple, orderly lifestyle. Minimalists are very organized, efficient, and find satisfaction in carrying out momentous relationships and meaningful activities. If one's life is simple, contentment has to come. Simplicity is extremely important for happiness. Having few desires, feeling satisfied with what one has is very vital. Happiness and contentment is not getting all that is wanted, but rather being grateful, happy, and enjoying what one has in life. There are certain degrees of minimalism that do not conform to its real meaning. First of all, there's extreme asceticism, which is living less than a minimalist does. It is a life below the minimalist mark. For instance, when one eats very little, it could lead to ailment. This is not good. Extreme asceticism is self-destruction. Less things, but more of life experiences, more stories to tell, not more stuff to boast of. Minimalism is not only having less material things. It is about making room for more of life that matters. It matters being able to find pleasure in appreciating the wonderful nature around where one lives. It could be the beautiful flowers in a garden or the great feeling of serenity walking in the park. The goal is to do less work to experience the pleasure of being with nature. In essence, it points to living with the bare essentials, reducing the trash in our lives, and refraining from overextending ourselves, in other words, to keep it simple. There's a sense of freedom in simplicity. Being simple in everything means fewer things to organize. Possessions don't define a person, and that the pursuit of material things inhibits people from experiencing life to the fullest. There's a fashionable, wealthy form of minimalism which focuses more on getting rid of cheap, unnecessary objects, while maintaining a selection of very expensive things. For example, a minimalistic living room in $1 million house. Minimalism is still used as a means to show off wealth with the place furnished with expensive things. It is not crowded with cheap objects. Thus, we can see this as a sophisticated form of consumerism, as it still revolves around status and possessions. It still needs a lot of money to obtain and sustain this lifestyle. For those who don't fancy living on the streets and rather live a more integrated life, that doesn't make one into an outcast. There's a more practical way for minimalist living. The hierarchy of needs could be defined that shows which desires could be pursued and which shouldn't be. Natural and necessary desires like food, shelter, and human relations are the basic important things. These satiable natural desires are easy to obtain and have natural limits. The desires that should be avoided are considered as vain and empty desires, including power, wealth, and fame. These desires are impossible to satisfy as they are never-ending. Minimalism is the counter-movement to the consumerist society. Minimalists are people who turn their backs to overconsumption and decide to live with no more than necessary. Aside from being a lifestyle trend today, minimalism is a concept that people have been practicing many centuries ago as opposed to consumerism. Consumerism comes with a price as it requires resources to keep up with the other consumers. It is keeping up with the Joneses, buying expensive cars and clothes that one cannot afford. So many people work themselves to death to be able to buy everything they want. Buying expensive things represents their status. Overvalue in possessions makes some people steal. Display of treasures makes some people envious. Therefore, having a lot of possessions requires adequate protection. Rich people often live in fear of robbers and burglars, hidden behind walls in guarded communities with CCTVs. This is a maximalist way of life. Such a stance goes at the expense of the true power behind minimalist living, which is that our baseline happiness is achieved with a minimal amount of resources. It is detached from the burden of status and extreme wealth. But this idea is difficult to accept when the basic ideology of the consumerist culture is that less is less and more is more. This has everything to do with how we value social status. It isn't measured by virtue or spirituality but by ownership of expensive possessions. What one has seems to determine a place in the society. Wealth, fame, and power come with great responsibility. It takes time, money, and great effort. Take for example the richest man on earth, Elon Musk. Managing big businesses does not allow him to live a simple, quiet life. He is exceedingly successful in all his businesses, but he has been divorced 3 times. It is success in exchange for an unstable married life, fame, and power instead of a happy family life. By not owning much, on the other hand, saves a lot of time and energy. There is less effort looking after non-luxurious things and no distractions either. Less things, less worry. To find joy in the world does not mean ownership of particular places. Walking in the park will do instead of having 1,000 square feet garden. It is possible to live in a small hut and enjoy the world outside for free. Why live in a palace? We aren't royals anyway. This is what Jane SIBERRY prefers. Her life can be described in 3 words. Live life free. A Canadian singer and songwriter. She is a devoted minimalist who lives on the road. She travels with no more than 2 bags, carrying only her guitar and a laptop while she tours the world sharing her music. She shares all of her records available on her websites for free. In essence, a minimalist life facilitates equanimity, mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper. When the living expenses are low, there is no need to work like dogs and one can spend more time enjoying the world around with a sense of contentment. Isn't that what freedom is all about? There is no shame in minimalist living. A minimalist couldn't care what other people think. The state of indifference from worldly goods as well as other people's opinions makes one indestructible. No one could hurt an invincible person. Minimalist finds great joy in having little. This is in contrast to the lives of those seeking to consume to infinity, painfully exchanging their lives to boost self-esteem. In minimalism, one lets go of the conservative ideas of wealth and status, knowing that true wealth lies within and social status is not only an unnecessary luxury. It's also difficult to obtain, easy to lose, and for a great part, gets out of control. Let us take for example the Apple co-founder. Steve Jobs was a firm believer in minimalism. The success of his products is attributed to the beautifully simple design and user-friendliness of the software. Simplifying complexity was the main lesson he taught businesses. The way customers are approached and develop lead generation tactics. Steve Jobs had almost no furniture. Minimalists choose to live simply as the ability to let go of all worldly goods is where the true wealth lies. The joy of a simple, easy, and enjoyable life. Simplicity is the ultimate form of happiness, sophistication, and contentment. Such life does not pose adversity and difficulty, but rather a simple, wise, and leisurely living. There you go, guys. I hope you learned something from our video. We will see you next time on Remarkable Finance. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share with us your thoughts on minimalistic living in the comments below. We will be glad to read and reply to your comments. Check out other videos from our Remarkable Finance channel. Thank you for reading. Bye!